and welcome back to This Week in Media-ocrity, where we give you the best in the worst of the media. I'm your host, Joel Foster, and the doomsday clock moved 2 minutes from midnight, and you know what that means. I'm letting myself go. All right, while you were maybe focused on certain annihilation, the deepening of the Russia investigation, or the government shutdown, the MAGA force was focused on something entirely different. Because this week, we had hashtags to worry about. Hashtag release the memo is what I'm talking about. What I'm referring to is a memo reportedly detailing abuses by the NSA's surveillance program. Hold on. Let me have a fidgety Tucker Carlson deliver the news and get oddly turned on.
Wiretapped and surveilled his campaign before the 2016 election. This was all denounced as an absurd lie, a delusion, but maybe it wasn't actually. A 4-page memo currently circulating through the Congress reportedly details pre-election abuses of FISA. That's a law that allows the executive branch to engage in the surveillance of American citizens and was just reauthorized mindlessly by the Congress. That very little fanfare.
Oh. I'm sorry, I haven't had breakfast. That's right, the FISA memo shook up Washington this week. A group of Republicans led by New York Representative Peter King, who I'm pretty sure is a rhino in a suit, King started the movement by demanding that the House be able to see the secret memo. Since then, a smaller number of representatives have been able to view it in a secure room. I think there's about 4 of them. Kind of like one of those expensive lap dances. The ones that come with the champagne. It's a lot like that. Representatives aren't allowed to talk about the contents of the memo, but they had to opt. They had no problem offering their constructive criticism. Here's Mark Meadows describing what he thought of the memo.
And I'm here to tell all of America tonight that I am shocked to read exactly what has taken place. I would think that it would never happen in a country that loves freedom and democracy like this country.
Sounds like he liked it. He's shocked. Shocked! Didn't we already find out our government's spying on us like 8 years ago? The first iPhone hadn't even been out yet, and we knew the government tapped our phones. Get with the times, Meadows. But it is disturbing to wonder what's in those memos. Could it reveal an even bigger spy operation than we knew existed? Was the Obama administration truly tapping the phone of Donald Trump? Does our president secretly watch us on his super TV that only he has, and that's why he watches so much TV? Looks like we won't know for a little bit. For the record, Democrats such as Adam Schiff called the report, quote, profoundly misleading and drafted by, quote, Republican staff attacking the FBI and its handling of the investigation, which sounds a lot like similar actions that happened around Watergate. But it's a potentially huge issue, and that's why our old friend Tucker Carlson decided to tackle it head on. And who do you think Tucker would have in a show to talk about the issue? NSA? FBI? CIA? Nope. DTJ.
And I don't think you have either, changes the conversation completely, but they can't tell us what's in it. To the extent you have heard what's in it, what do you make of it?
You know, it sounds pretty troubling to me. Obviously, this has been a witch hunt, probably the greatest since the Salem witch trials. The interesting thing about it is the only collusion, the only shadiness, the only thing that's been discovered is what the prior administration, the DNC, and all of them have done. The irony of all of this is if Republicans conducted themselves the way I've seen the Democrats conduct themselves, we'd be reading about this on every page of every newspaper and every TV channel in the world right now. We're a little bit more honorable than them, but it really sounds disturbing. And, you know, I don't know what to do with it because I don't know what's in it. But if all of these guys are saying people's heads are going to roll, people are going to get fired, and people may actually go to jail, I think the American people deserve to know. They've been led down a road to believe X. They've been sold a bill of goods about us, about our campaign from 18 months. The media totally complicit in helping the Dems do this. And the only thing we've discovered, it was actually them. I think we need more information.
This has to do with the...
Should we be surprised that he doesn't know what irony is? Was he even still talking about FISA? I think he just explained the plot to Newsies. What does the media have to do with any of this? But see how he really got going there? They've sold us a bill of goods. And then he just fell off. That the media is fake news and the Dems and the globalists. We need more information. If you need more information, why are you already making conclusions about it? It's like telling someone that durian fruit is the worst food in the world when you haven't even tasted it. That's a bad example because, as we all know, durian is a fruit-based testicle inside of a shell of spiky violence. But Donnie Jr. is right. Why isn't CNN covering the memo? Why isn't MSNBC covering the memo? What are they hiding? Are they scared of the truth?
To do with a 4-page memo that Chairman Devin Nunes, the Republican who leads the House Intelligence Committee, has put together and has essentially given the authority of the full House to review.
The House conservatives are demanding the release of a memo. It's a memo by the House Intelligence.
Yeah, they covered it. Plus, it's kind of tough to cover something when no one can talk about the thing. I assume every interview will go the same way. I can't talk about it, but whew, you should see this. Who wants that? And the thing is, the president has the authority to declassify the memo. All he has to do is sign his name. And we know he loves to sign his name. His son wants it. What's the problem? Just release the memo already. Unless there isn't a memo at all. Maybe the memo is all in our heads. Maybe we were the memo the whole time. Oh, I just got word that someone solved the mystery of what's in the secret memo. Let's take a look.
There's a source telling CNN that President Trump is inclined to allow the release of a controversial memo from Congressman Devin Nunes.
Here it is. Let's just get a document cam shot.
Got it. No, he's good.
Cam shot on this right now so I can send this out live. People can then stop it and rewind it, and the press and people can look at it and go back over it. There's page 1. That's a good shot right there. There's page 2, page 3. Don't normally do this on air, but obviously this is important. Infowars.com/show if you want to see this.
Document cam. Oh, he's turning pages. He's on page 7. So was that the real memo? Yes, the Senate can't see the memo, but somehow Alex Jones got a copy. And for some reason, he thinks reading a classified memo on the internet is a solid idea. No, it wasn't real. Twitter user Gerald Beer pointed out that it was identical to this already released document for 2016. Good try, though, Alex. At least it was exciting TV. Maybe next time we can watch her flip through a chapter book. All right, but enough about memos. So boring. Let's move on to text messages. The only thing that Republicans and teenage girls are equally obsessed with. Well, besides the Second Amendment. It started when leaked text messages of FBI agent Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, who were having an affair, were released. Not a big deal, but the text messages show that the two exchanged messages insulting the president. Like we all do, every day. Still not a big deal though, right?
This, so you understand, is so much bigger than Watergate. It's about our Constitution, about the rule of law. It has been shredded, all because powerful people at the highest level in the DOJ and the FBI thought they knew better than you as to who should be president. There needs to be serious ramifications if we're going to save our country in all of this. People must be held accountable. They must be investigated. They must be indicted, and probably many of them thrown in jail.
I apologize for that outburst. I haven't had breakfast. Judge, jury, and executioner. Hannity declares you guilty, and you're probably even going to jail. I haven't seen someone blow something this far out of proportion since I saw that Khloe Kardashian and Lamar Odom sex tape. Seriously, it's two people calling the president terrible and dumb. Because he is. The FBI is supposed to be apolitical, that's true. But you can conduct your work apolitically and still hold an opinion. I'd be weirded out if they didn't have an opinion on Trump. Because love him or hate him, you have to have an opinion on Trump. No one's like, I don't know, he's fine, I guess. He tends to bring out extremes in people. But it didn't matter because the Republicans were energized. Not only did they have the text, but a stream of text spanning months went missing. The FBI blamed it on a glitch and said that the same thing happened to thousands of other agents' phones. Sounds fishy. So Republicans had the goods. Here's Representative Trey Gowdy playing a human statue with John Ratcliffe, getting even deeper down the rabbit hole of the texts. Let's take a look.
Know about this insurance policy that was referenced in trying to prevent Donald Trump from becoming president. We learned today about information that in the immediate aftermath of his election, that there may have been a secret society of folks within the Department of Justice and the FBI, to include Page and Strzok, that would be working against him. I'm not saying that actually happened, but when folks speak in those terms, they need to come forward to explain the context with which they use those those terms.
Secret society. That's a fancy name for a bunch of people going to happy hour and complaining about Donald Trump. Good news, guys. We all belong to secret societies. And even better news, we have exclusive footage of the secret meetings. Let's take a look.
Who leaves Atlantis off the maps?
Who keeps the Martians under wraps?
We do. Who holds back the electric car? Who makes Steve Gutenberg a star? We do. Who robbed Fish of their sight? Who rigged every Oscar night? We do.
All right, the next day, Gowdy appeared again on Fox, solo this time, to talk again about the text, as if he hadn't been silently standing beside Ratcliffe in that other one. And it looks like he's trying to pull a fast one, because he changed his hair a bit, if you'll notice. Either that or his hair dyed after he ended up spending the night with John Ratcliffe. Let's hear
level of
Gowdy.
bias that you rarely see and you never see from law enforcement officers. What's also troubling to me is this text that Johnny Ratcliffe found last night about this secret society. And it's also in that same time period where we're missing 5 months worth of text. So God only knows what else was said.
Who knows what was said? Well, I bet it was a lot of this, and this, and this. I'd love to watch Trey Gowdy and John Ratcliffe discover a dick pic for the first time. Oh, my stars, that's a penis. And finally, here's Tucker Carlson again. This time he's got good buddy Mark Steyn, and they're talking texts. And they, of course, take the issue to its logical conclusion. Hillary Clinton. That train is never late.
Having Hillary fans who are having illicit affairs because they loved Hillary so much it turned them on so much. As you pointed out, those tweets and texts between Strzok and his lover, it sounds like John le Carre rewritten by Teen Beat. It's completely preposterous.
Ooh, that's dark. You're incorrigible. Did you see how giddy Tucker was? It's adorable. And they call it puppy love. And if you're not familiar with Steyn, first off, he's not the spawn of Seth Rogen and Tom Brady, so get that out of your head. Steyn is a Canadian author known for his criticisms of multiculturalism. He coined the phrase Eurabia to describe Islam taking over Europe, which he says is inevitable. With that in his blood, it's no wonder he gets along so well with Tucker. And he and Tucker seem to have struck up a mighty fine relationship of late. And they're always sure to tackle the most pressing problems of our time.
Use the cover of liberal progressive feminism because that's where the girls are. Quaintly called courtship rituals, and we risk actually making things worse by having nothing between, the rather cold world of hookups and friends with benefits, and on the other hand, Harvey Weinstein staggering around in his bathrobe. The top of the show, when the women take over, and we have, what did she call it, warlock hunts. I don't think warlock hunts are the answer. Minstrel shows. Now, just off the top of my head, cartoon characters who wear bow ties. Porky Pig, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Huckleberry Hound. Yogi Bear doesn't wear a bow. He wears a necktie like me. But an unlawful immigrant can practice law in California. The one thing he can't do is stand on the edge of a golf course covered in foliage. On that,
Mark Steyn has written quite a few books of his own, though the Obamas didn't like them quite as much as they liked Dr. Seuss. Maybe they need to reassess. He joins us tonight. What do you make of Seussgate, Mark?
Okay, Seussgate is not a real thing, okay? But let's take a look at how good they are together.
Imagine listening to that on a long road trip. I don't even think Hillary voters would want to do that. Mark Steyn has written, I think, more books than Hillary. He joins us now.
Your seatbelt. I don't actually need an extended director's
I don't think I'm allowed to laugh, but I am anyway.
But he actually visits a Macedonian content farm, and there's some gnarled old Macedonian content farmers sitting on...
They're best buds. But the pair got into a bit of trouble last week when Steyn appeared on the show and laid into immigrants in the DACA program. But I don't see how anyone can be bothered by it. Judge for yourself.
The illegal immigrants are people who shouldn't be here. And the organizing principle of nation states is that they're organized on behalf of their citizens, whether their citizens are cheerleaders or white supremacists or whatever. You're stuck with them. Economic benefits, which are minimal and are not evenly distributed. The cultural transformation, which is what's happening in Sweden, other parts of Europe, and is what's happening in Arizona too, that's forever. In Arizona, a majority of the grade school children now are Hispanic. That means Arizona's future is as an Hispanic society. That means, in effect, the border has moved north.
The border moved north? Oh, goody. Now I can finally afford to get that rash checked out. I'm getting my teeth fixed and getting braces on top of braces. Because I can, because this is Mexico, damn it. So wait, if Arizona is now Mexico, that means that Joe Arpaio, Martha McSally, Andy Biggs, and Paul Gozer are now Mexican citizens. New Mexico overlords, do with them what you will. Oh, but the best is yet to come. It turns out that Mark Steyn wasn't always an attention-seeking sociopath on cable news. No. Before this, Mark Steyn was an attention-seeking sociopath who wrote songs. Behold.
She started baby talking, and she sure didn't shirk. How's mama's pookie wookie? How's her big sweetie pie? I kinda smiled and I opened one eye. Yeah, mama's gone get lovey-dovey's, had a hard day. I was just about to answer her when I heard her say, "You so fat and lazy, but you're sweet as can be." That's when I knew she wasn't looking at me. Oh, I wish she'd talk to me like that. Didn't care where I scratched or sat. And gave me praise for being lazy and fat. But she only talks that way to the cat.
All right, there you have it. Nothing sends a woman to find a pussy more than being in a relationship with Mark Steyn. All right, but back to the text messages. Ron Johnson, the originator of the secret society idea, admitted that the text might have been a joke. Yeah, you think? And remember the case of the missing texts? Yeah, they were all recovered within a day. So there goes that one. But it was too late, because this story had passionate affairs, juicy text messages, secret societies. For conspiracy theorists, this was like the Last Jedi. They've been waiting years for this kind of perfect storm. So you know they're gonna go for it. And go for it they did, with my favorite being this guy, who proves that the opioid crisis is now taking over the media.
There's a secret society, apparently, who hates Trump in the FBI. I talked about that in my last segment. That's linked to the shadow government on the 7th floor of the State Department that Tillerson fired, that covered Clinton's email debacle, just like Stork did, or Strzok. Crazy. Oh my God, we're so cool. We're so much smarter than him. Yeah, profanity alert. Profanity alert. Yeah, motherfucker, you lost. Meanwhile, her, the compound near her house is blowing up and, on fire. There was just a coincidental fire. And then they start the email probe, or the Clinton Foundation probe. All of it, and then you have the Strzok text messages, FISA Memo. The whole thing is collapsing. The Russia investigation is a joke. It's a farce now. People laugh at it. I mean, at least come up with something. Then you have, like I said, the renewed FBI and Clinton Foundation probes. This will all come to a climax with Hillary Clinton being indicted. That's obvious.
I wonder if crystal meth tastes like crystals. To finish up, Republicans are clearly creating these conspiracy movies to distract from the Russian investigation, which has been heating up this week. It doesn't take a secret society to be evil. It takes a bunch of dumb people trying to cover up their dumb tracks. Sure, it's not as exciting as a secret society, but when is life ever exciting as movies and TV? That's why we watch movies and TV. But we're so used to politics seeming like fantasy that we expect there to be some sort of higher meaning to the whole thing. But these are just people. And sometimes dumb people get lucky. Then they screw up and get lucky again. And again. And again. And how isn't this guy impeached yet? All right. That's all the time I got for this week. Thank you for tuning in to This Week in Mediocrity. I'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Have a good weekend and stay creative, Tucson.